You got pancake butt. You look back and there's nothing there. Some people call you long back. Your glutes won't grow. What is going on? Look, we know why. There's 10 reasons why your butt is flat, and we're going to fix it for you. We've seen this many, many times. We have the solution. Get ready.
I don't know if I've heard long back before.
That one got me, dude.
That one got me too. I don't think I heard anyone say long back before.
I thought pancake ass.
Yeah, I definitely heard pancake ass.
No, listen. This is all joking aside, and obviously.
Oh no, this is.
I open that to get.
This is a serious topic,
this
bro.
This is a pain point.
It's a pain point, and in women in particular are very focused on developing their glutes. By the way, I'm going to say this right now. Like, this is a great muscle to develop. Like, this is a athletic muscle. You get strong glutes.
It serves you big time.
You see an athlete. I'll ask Justin this. Justin, how can you tell when you're on the field, when you played football, if a dude is going to be able to run over people?
Some dude with powerful glutes. I'm scared.
It is 100% true. Glutes give you tremendous function. They're functional muscles. This is why they're attractive because it signals health and athleticism and function. So it's a great muscle to develop, and of course, women want to develop it because people are attracted to it. It looks good. The problem is a lot of people struggle with this. They try to build their butt, and it's not responding, and they can't figure out what the heck is going on here.
Even though this is a challenging muscle for a lot of people to grow, it actually is one of those muscles that you can significantly grow.
That's right.
I mean, it's a big muscle, and so once you solve these things that we're going to talk about. I have seen some amazing before and afters where somebody is like, I could never ever, and then all of a sudden, huge difference.
Yes, listen, 99% of the people watching
it's a big muscle.
There's no need for implants.
Listen, 99% of the people watching this right now, one or more of the reasons why your butt isn't growing is because of what we're going to talk about. And if
most
you fix
likely
it,
multiple. If
you fix it, you'll see it grow. So I'll start with the first one. This is probably the most common reason why a lot of women can't get their butt to grow. It's because you're also trying to get abs. You're trying to get abs at the same time. Now, there's nothing wrong with trying to get abs, but when you're trying to see your abs and get leaner, you're not going to build.
No.
Yeah.
You don't build
You're restricting
in a calorie deficit. You have to eat more food to build anything. So a lot of women, this is what they want. This is what they'll say. I want the snatched waist and the basketball butt. Great, pick one, because that's the one we're going to focus on. You can't do both at the same time. And if you're not eating enough, it's not going to grow. And I can't tell you how many times I had a female client who wanted to build her butt, and all we had to do
surplus
is bump their calories. And then suddenly the glutes showed up. Suddenly this was not a problem.
This is no different than some guy coming to me and saying, I want to get giant arms or build my biceps, and he's eating 3 salads a day.
Yeah.
Just not going to happen.
It's impossible.
I don't care how good the exercise is, how great your training is. It doesn't matter. You are not giving the body the caloric surplus it needs in order to go build more tissue.
By the way, this has to be consistent. So here's another mistake and I understand this, by the way. This is more common for women than it is for men. They're afraid to go in the calorie surplus because they don't want to gain lots of body fat, right? So what they'll typically do is they'll hear this. Okay, good. I'm gonna try and go into calorie surplus, and one of two things either happens. One, their surplus isn't really a surplus. They eat a little more, but then they self-correct when they see the scale go up a pound or two, or they feel a little fluffy, or they feel a little bloated, or they feel a little bigger, and they drop the calories back down. The other option is they'll do a calorie surplus for a day or two, and then they'll be in a calorie deficit for 3 or 4 days.
Yep.
This has to be a consistent surplus. Aim for a good 500 calories above what it takes to maintain your body weight. So if you're eating 2,000 calories a day and your body weight is staying the same, go to 2,500 calories. If you're eating 1,500 calories and your body weight staying the same, go up to 2,000 calories. 500 calories above your maintenance is what you're going to need to give your body the building blocks it needs to build your butt. If you don't do this, you can have everything perfect. You can be on anabolic steroids. You can do everything you want. Your butt's not going to grow because there's nothing to grow it with. There are no building blocks. The next one is you're not trying to get strong. The strongest, the tightest correlate to muscle growth is strength. Okay, nothing correlates as closely to building muscle as strength does. If you're in the gym and you're not getting stronger and you think you're going to build anything, it's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. If you're in the gym and you're consistently getting stronger, congratulations, you're going to start building some muscle. Just stay on that path.
Yeah, when that's top of mind, you pick, which is going into kind of your next point, but you just pick a higher quality of an exercise, a higher quality and value of a workout. So your entire focus is on getting stronger. It just naturally produces more musculature as a result.
Another way to say it would be quit chasing the burn and lift heavy ass weight.
Yeah.
I mean, that's typically what happens is there is this misconception that if I feel it in the muscle and I feel that burning, that it's growing, and it doesn't necessarily work that way. Just because you can make a muscle group burn does not mean
connect to it,
that you're building it.
One of the most well-known butt building experts, who also happens to be a great trainer, Bret Contreras. He's a great trainer. He became famous for helping female competitors and women build their butts, and he is an excellent trainer. You could tell he's trained lots of people. Sometimes you'll hear quote unquote experts communicate things, and I'll heal right away. I can tell. You haven't trained a lot of people.
In the clinical side of things.
He has trained lots and lots and lots of people, lots and lots of women for years and years and years, and you should see the weight that his clients are pushing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he puts them through. Yeah. Like, he's like, look, we want to build a butt. We're going to get your squat up. We're going to get your deadlift. We're going to get you to lift heavy weight. It's not the burn. It's not the sweat that does it. It's not how tired you are at the end of your workout. It's, did you get stronger? I've never met a woman who didn't add 50 pounds, who added 50 pounds to the squat, who didn't build a bigger butt.
That's right.
It happens every single time.
That's right.
So your number one goal in the gym that's going to produce the goal of a bigger butt is to get stronger. So this should be the key. And if you're not getting stronger, it's probably.
And by the way, it goes hand in hand with your first tip. Getting stronger with a calorie surplus is what's going to do that.
Oh, yes.
You skip out on one of these two things and you're going to miss. You could maybe you're trying to get strong, but then you're not giving your body the calorie surplus. It's not going to build, or vice versa. So they both are very, very important.
Right. Next up, you're just doing dumb exercises. You're not doing exercises that really move the needle.
This has gotten better.
This
was in the 90s.
We've seen an evolution
in the 90s and the early 2000s. It was crazy how bad this was. I mean, this was. But this is also back when you didn't see anybody squatting or deadlifting in the gym. This was like nobody was. And then definitely girls that wanted to build butt were not doing that. They were doing the Thigh Master. You know, those late 90s when Thigh Master came around. Like that was the type of stuff that people were doing to build their butt, which is just a terrible strategy. Or doing the cables
with a kickback.
Yeah, cables around their ankle and kicking back, or donkey, kickbacks. Like these exercises, although they activate the glutes, and I'm not saying they can't play a role in supporting that, they should not be the core or the foundation of your program.
No, the foundation of your routine where you're trying to get stronger. Like, these are the exercises that matter for building a butt. You want to build a butt, you're in the calorie surplus, and you're like, okay, I need to get strong. Where should I try to get strong? What exercises? It's great to get strong in a lot of exercises, but you want to build your butt. Which ones? Squats, deadlifts, hip thrusts. Those three right there.
You could literally only do those three forever and get strong at them and build a massive butt from that. And never do another butt exercise.
No, and you can get really strong at those exercises. You show me a girl that could squat 225 pounds or can hip thrust 400 pounds, and you probably will have a girl with a really round, well-developed butt. So get strong at those lifts, and those lifts should be the foundation of your routine. In other words, if you're lifting weights 3 days a week, the first exercise each day should be either a squat or a squat variation, right? So like a split stance squat is fine, like some kind of squat variation, a deadlift or a deadlift variation, and a hip thrust. Start your workouts with those, and all your effort and intensity and focus is on those lifts. That's what you care about the most. That's where I want to get strong. And if you get stronger on those, you'll see your butt grow. Today's program giveaway is MAPS Aesthetic. If you want to win, leave a comment below this video in the first 24 hours that we drop it. Subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. If you win, we'll let you know in the comment section. Also, with this episode, we've made the MAPS Butt Mod. This is a modification that teaches you how to make your workouts effective for building your butt. The mod is going to be 50% off. That's $23.50. That's it. Go to mapsmods.com. Use the code BUTT50 for the discount. Here comes the show.
It's so funny because it's almost like upside down of what's being promoted and marketed, because like a lot of those exercises have like booty band, for instance, that became a big thing, right? Or like, a lot of these like little techniques to try and activate the glute more when we're doing step ups or whatever it is, which would be great to either use as a primer going into the workout, or like, build up a little more volume on your days in between. But like, they're missing the biggest moving things they can do.
That's right. That's right. Which brings us, and here's where the value is with those, right? You might just have poor technique and connection. Now, it is the case sometimes, not often, but sometimes you are squatting and you're squatting a lot and your strength is going up in your squat. But what you notice is your quads are really getting well developed and your butt doesn't seem to be getting a lot of the gains. Your technique may be favoring your quads. Now, squats, the glutes play a major role, but can you do a squat in a way that gets the glutes to do less of a role and the quads to do more of a role? Yes. And sometimes this happens naturally. And so what you want to do is you want to change your technique and your connection. Here is where a lot of those exercises that Adam and Justin mentioned, like the dog peas and the kickbacks and the cable movements, can play a role. And what you would do, let's say this is you and you've been squatting for a little while. What you would do is you'd start your workout out with some of those isolation exercises so you could feel the glutes, that and get a little bit of a pump. Then go to your squat, change your technique so that you could feel what you felt with those exercises. Now you're focusing on the glutes, and suddenly the squats become a butt exercise.
And a lot of times we'll notice too with clients, it's a depth issue. So we're not getting enough depth in that squat, which really gets full range of motion and allows the glutes to really kind of kick into the exercise and contribute.
So to that point, I was actually going to comment on what Sal said, because I think you said it wasn't that common. I find this really common. In fact, I think today, most women know that squatting and deadlifting are the movements that they do, but a lot of them don't have the range of motion, or they're so quad dominant that when they do the squats, they just get a pump on their quads and they're not feeling a lot in their butt. And a lot of that is due to what Justin's saying is like form and technique, not enough depth, or their hip flexors are so short and tight that when they go to squat, they hinge over, they put all the weight on the front of their quads. Not a lot of it's shifted in the posterior chain. And so I think a lot of this sometimes is a technique, because there's many people that I know that's the first thing I always ask is like, what exercises are you doing? And most of them are got to the point now where they know that they need a deadlift and squat. But then when you look at the technique, you realize that, oh, they're so quad dominant. That's why they're not feeling
By the way, this is why the hip thrust got so popular.
That's right.
The hip thrust is not a better butt building exercise than the squat. There's studies on this. It's proven. They're both
It overcomes bad technique.
They're both great butt building exercises. Squats and hip thrusts, great butt building exercises.
It's almost impossible to do hip thrusts and not feel your butt.
That's
Whereas
right.
Squat, it takes technique.
That's right. So with the hip thrust, if you're one of those people where you've challenged to see your glutes really respond to squats, then the hip thrust should be the focus of your routine. So it might look something like this. Instead of starting your week off with squats, maybe you start them with your hip thrust. That's your first exercise of the week after the weekend, when you're fed and rested, and that becomes the focus. But it is not necessarily a better glute exercise, but it is for people who have trouble connecting to glutes. And I think, just to back you up, Adam, when people come to you who have been training, who say they struggle building their glutes, you're right. Oftentimes it is connection, because now the selection bias goes down to like, I am doing this stuff.
I mean, that's a good point. That's what I'm thinking of is people that come to hire me, not just random clients that I just got that have never done that. Because if you haven't done any, a lot of times the person who's never trained is not going to have done the best movements, right? But normally when someone comes to me and says, hey, I'm struggling with building my butt, they've already researched enough to have been trying the right movements, but they tend to be very quad dominant.
Right. Next up, your reps are too high. I still see this sometimes. Like, one of my, when we first created MAPS Anabolic, phase 1 is this low rep, you're into like 3, 4, 5 reps. And so many women still write in and say, I can't believe the gains. Now, there's nothing necessarily magical about low reps. Low reps are valuable. So are higher reps. I mean, you go into the 15 rep range, the 12 rep range, 10 rep range. They're all valuable. They'll all build muscle.
Novelty.
But if you've never spent 5 or 6 weeks in just 4 reps or 5 reps, you have no idea what you're missing out. Yeah. You jump into a long phase, keep it even 4 weeks, just a 4-week phase of I'm going to the gym and all of my sets, I'm going to keep them 5 reps or lower for my butt. And I'm just going to get strong. I want to see if I can hip thrust 400 pounds for 3 reps. I want to see if I could squat 250 pounds or 220 pounds. I want to see if I could deadlift 200 pounds or 220 pounds off the ground for 1 or 2 reps. Watch out, especially if you feed yourself. You're going to see some incredible
Once they really
gains.
buy into that idea and that type of mentality going in, it was always, that was a radical shift of thought for a lot of clients that would typically pick the same weight for any rep range you give them.
Yes.
And that was like very common. I'd have to kind of, okay, well, if we're doing less reps here, we want to still challenge our body by adding a bit more load. And so to do that and then go all the way down to 3 to 5 is like a substantial amount of load we need to make up for that. So that's a psychology, that was something, a psychological hurdle to get over.
Totally. And, again, talking about Bret Contreras, he does this a lot too. He does this a lot. Three reps, max out. He'll post it.
I mean, I love to challenge somebody. I actually would, I remember even training Katrina like this because this was something that she had never really done. She falls in the category of these 2 points you're making right now of keeping it moving, high rep type of workouts. And I would even say, hey, let's train 3. I want you to pick a weight that you don't think you could even get 5 because they not only do they rarely ever get 5, but even when they choose 5, it was probably something they could do 8.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, shoot for something that you can only do 3. Like I want you to put something on there that you're like, I'm gonna get a couple of these. And if you only get 1 or 2, who cares?
That's right.
We found out where you're at, because I think a lot of clients underestimate actually how strong, especially my female clients. I think it's the opposite for each, right? I think my men overestimate how much they can lift, put on too much weight on the bar that they probably shouldn't do, and their form breaks down. My women tend to underestimate the amount of strength that they have and put too little on the bar. And so I always used to tell my clients, we're shooting for 3 right here. And then if they squeezed out 5, that's great.
That's right.
But a lot of times you have to tell them that in order for them to actually put a weight on the bar that you want them to do a hard 5 for.
That's right. This episode's brought to you by Seed, the world's best and most effective probiotic. Go check them out. Go to seed.com/mindpump. Use the code 25mindpump. Get 25% off. Back to the show. Next up, and this one is far more common for women than for men, is you're moving too quickly through your workout. You're not sitting, literally sitting and resting for 2 to 3 minutes in between sets. You're like doing your set, you're waiting till you catch your breath, and then you're going again. And you get a good burn and a good sweat, and you leave thinking you had a good workout. What makes strength training, or what makes a muscle building workout is the rest periods.
That's right.
If I take the rest periods out of a muscle building workout, no rest periods, I have taken it from muscle building to just building endurance.
It's just cardio with weights.
That's it.
That's all 100%. It is.
So what you need to do, and this is so hard for a lot of people, is literally with your phone or whatever you got, a stopwatch, do your set. Especially if it's low reps. This is where people really mess up. They do the low reps, like, I'm not tired, I want to go again. No. Do your set of 3 or 4 heavy, go sit on the bench, set your timer for 3 minutes, and be paid, and just wait.
Yeah.
And then do it again after 3 minutes. Watch what happens to building muscle. All the data supports this. Strength training coaches know this. People really mess this up because to them in their head, it doesn't feel like a workout. I don't even feel like I'm working out. I don't care. Are you stronger? Yes, we're building muscle. That's what we're looking for. So rest in between sets. And again, rest doesn't mean, oh my God, I need the rest because I can't perform another set. No. We're allowing your muscles to build up that ATP to get back into the muscle building phase. And that takes 2 to 3 minutes between sets. So do that. Next up is you sleep like crap. You just don't sleep well. Now, here's what it typically looks like.
This will kill anybody in any goals.
Here's what happens. If you eat in a surplus and you lift heavy and you're doing the right exercises, but you sleep like crap, you're going to get fatter. You're not going to build muscle. That's literally what poor sleep will do for you. It promotes fat storage and actually promotes muscle loss. And the studies on this are pretty remarkable. It also dramatically increases your risk of injury. In fact, nothing will increase your risk of injury as acutely as poor sleep. So you may be thinking, I have pretty good sleep. Do you? How about Friday night and Saturday night? This is where people mess it up.
Yeah.
Good sleep is good sleep all the time. Crappy sleep is I got to make up for poor sleep on Friday night and Saturday night and then wake up Monday and I feel jet lag because I go to bed so late over the weekend. No. You want to build your butt, you got to sleep good Monday through Sunday. Go to bed at the same time, wake up at the same time. It's got to be a 9-hour block because it takes 30 minutes or so or even longer to get into that good sleep. Do that, and it's like magic. for muscle building.
I would make the case that this goes hand in hand with your next point coming up right now, which I feel like the client that struggles with sleep a lot of time is also the client that is overtrained.
That's right.
Because a lot of times this avatar that we're trying to describe to help this person that's trying to build this butt, a lot of times is doing all the things, but they're doing so much of it, so much volume, so many supersets, so low of rest periods, not getting enough food, it causes crappy sleep.
That's right. So don't overdo the workouts. And I'll do a little subcategory of the women that I've worked with who struggled to build their butts where it was because they were overtrained. Here's how they overtrained. There was either two areas. One, they were lifting weights 6 days a week. Too much. You want to build muscle, for most people watching this, is 3 days a week. 3 days full body workouts. That's what'll build the muscle. Start with the hip thrust, the squats, and the deadlifts. Do the rest if you want, maybe 4 or 5 more exercises. You'll build an incredible butt. So you don't need to do more than 3 days a week. And most people actually get less results doing more than 3 days a week. But here's the other side. Women who do the 3 days a week, but then they also include the 2 Zumba classes, the spin class, the Orange Theory class. Stop the classes. Stop all the cardio. Stop all those classes. Not only are they not helping you build a butt, they're taking away from the muscle building signal that you're trying to
And they're also making the calorie surplus more difficult.
That's right.
You're doing all these manual burning calorie exercises, and you're making it hard for you to be in that 500 calorie surplus that you talked about at the very beginning.
That's right. Right. Next up, you might not be patient. Building muscle takes time. To go from no butt or a butt that doesn't stand out to one that really stands out, most women, you're looking at 8 months to a year. 8 months to a year of consistent, good strength training, eating in a healthy surplus, getting good sleep, good workout programming, consistently over time getting stronger. You'll see radical changes in about 8 months to a year, but some women can't wait. They just don't want to wait that long. They'll do it for a month and go, what's going on here?
And especially because the consistency plays such a factor in that, you know, as much as we'd like to think that we've been on track and dialed this whole time, it just things interrupted all the time. So it's just naturally you're going to have to stretch that out a bit in that goal. But as much as you can stay dialed and getting your sleep and doing the right type of exercises, the right protocol, it'll happen over time.
That's the case that I would make, Justin. I think that be patient, because that's just part of this process. It takes time to build muscle. It actually will come on pretty hard and fast if you were actually to be consistent with every one of these points.
Yes.
The reality is what people tend to do. What people tend to do is they hear one or two of these things. They're like, oh, I'll try that. You know, they try one of them, but not the other one.
It's like 2 days.
Yeah. It'll take you a while to probably hone in on all 10 of these steps and be consistent with it. If you do, though, all 10 of these and you're consistent with it, you'll build a butt fast. You'll get strong and you will build it. You stay in a calorie surplus, you do the right exercises, you get good sleep, you get stronger. Watch the butt. The butt, especially if you had poor programming before, or you were overtrained before, or you weren't doing the right things. You do all those right things and do it consistently. I think the hardest, if I had to point one out of all the points that we're making right now, is the psychology around eating in a surplus.
Of course, you're gaining. If you're building a butt, you're gaining.
Exactly.
And then giving up your class.
Because that is that's hard for most women that want to build a butt. Also want a small, tiny waist. That's just a fact. It goes hand
at the same time.
The same time, and you have to let go a little bit. And it's not saying you're going to get a big old waist from it. It's just that's not the focus right now. The focus is to build a butt. And so you're committed to the calorie surplus and you do it consistently. And in order to do that, you have to get over that psychological hurdle that Justin talked about earlier of like, oh my God, I'm eating too much. I got to back off. So that's part of where I think this gets the most challenging for someone to be consistent with.
Yeah, and last is you're running a lot, in particular long distance running. Long distance running is not a pro muscle building activity. It's actually an anti muscle building activity, and it's definitely not a pro butt building activity.
No.
The only runners you'll ever see with nice glutes are sprinters.
Yep.
And by the way, it's
even their quads are like more impressive.
And it's not necessarily that the sprinting built their butts, because those same sprinters, if you took them and just had them lift weights, they'd build even bigger muscles.
Yeah.
It's at high levels of sprinting. People who build lots of muscle tend to do really well at it because it's an explosive sport. It's like saying swimming gives you wide shoulders. It doesn't widen your shoulders.
It's anaerobic.
I also believe in today's time, most all your Olympic sprinters are squatting heavy too.
All of them.
Yeah.
All of them.
Because they know how much that carries over
legs.
into building their quads and making them more, or their glutes and making them more explosive.
Yes.
So they're not. Yeah.
So I would say, as far as your cardio is concerned, like get rid of the distance running if your goal is to build a butt and you want to build as fast as possible, and walk. You could do walking for daily activity, but stop the distance running. It's definitely not helping.
Keep the body fat in check.
That's it. All right. I know you like that that episode? If you did, check this one out. Walking. It's one of the best things you can do for your health, bar none, but there's a better way to approach it. Yes, you can just walk, but if you follow the right protocol, it's far more effective. Let's talk about walking.
I can't wait to hear your walking protocol.
Well, there is. There is a protocol. So, and I'll start with the first thing, right? Because just first off, let me start with this. One of the reasons why walking is such a great form of just activity is because it's low risk of injury. Now, some